Wasabi guys, welcome back to another top 10 commander video. This time I'm going to go over my picks for the 10 best cards from the Innistrad Midnight Hunt commander set. Now this does include the commander cards that are releasing in boosters that are not in the precons. And as I go through here, I will explain exactly which ones are coming in the precon and which ones are not. It's really weird and I wish they didn't do it this way, but you have cards with a different set symbol that are included in the main set, but they're still technically part of the same commander set. So, before we get into the video, first I would like to remind you that most of you who are watching have not subscribed to the channel. Please do so, it helps me out. I love making these videos for you. So number 10 we have Lind, Cheerful Tormentor. And this is one of them. This is one of these commander cards that didn't come in either of the precon decks. Those are both two-colored. Lind is all about curses though. And we have really our first commander option that synergizes with curse cards. We've had some that are good with enchantments that also happen to be good with curses, but that doesn't always equal a good curse commander. Here you have a direct synergy where you can bring curses back after they're sent to the graveyard and then reattach them to your opponents and get some card draw for it. Awfully specific, which is why she's only number 10. We do have some cards with a specific strategy in mind, such as with Zombie Tribal and Human Tribal, but this is incredibly narrow because she's only going to work well with curses. That being said, that's all she really needs to be a good curse commander. And then number 9 we have Cleaver Saab. You can pay 3 mana, tap it, and sack another zombie to create 2 tokens that are copies of that sacrificed creature. This is pretty awesome. We have a lot of good zombies with a lot of good zombie ETBs, with a lot of good zombie death triggers. This is going to take advantage of both of those. It's your copy machine for zombies now. It's not too specific to the point where you wouldn't be able to use it as often. Like if it were to say sacrifice another non-token zombie, it wouldn't quite be as fun, but you can just keep doing this to the same zombie, keep getting more copies of that zombie. Anytime that you can create copies of something, it's always fun, and here we have a zombie-specific copy creator. And then number 8, we have Crowded Crypt. This is just another fun card, because at the very least it's going to be a good source of ramp in black, but you also get a great condition where whenever a creature you control dies, you're just racking up these corpse counters, so that later on in the game you can pay 6 mana and sacrifice it to get all of these zombies. It's cool because this isn't something that's just anchored to a zombie strategy. This is going to be good if you're playing a token deck in black, any kind of deck where you benefit off of numbers because you have cards like Blood Artist or the Meat Hook Massacre. Just a good value card. I mean, I could see it in a ton of black decks. And then number 7 we have Horde Wing Scab. You gave Zombie Tribal access to flying with this card, which is one of the weirdest things ever, but it also happens to increase the power level for zombies, which arguably didn't need to happen. Zombies were already pretty powerful, but it wasn't even just that, you also give yourself the ability to get some card draw too. It is eluding, but it still is going to help you get through your deck a little bit quicker. I think it's going to be a must-have for any blue zombie deck. You have a pretty easy way now, which wasn't very common before, of giving your zombies evasion. And then number 6 we have Wilhelt the Rot Cleaver. Probably the best commander option from either of the precons, and including the cards that come from the boosters. Wilhelt combines decent board presence with the ability to also draw some cards if you sacrifice a zombie, which shouldn't be difficult. The whole deck is going to be built around just replacing zombies that you kill off. This is going to be a good combo commander. It's going to be probably the best zombie tribal commander to date. And that's even if you do acknowledge the fact that the zombie tokens you get are decayed, so they can't block and they don't last after combat. It's all about the engine, and I think you have a ton of engine potential here for zombies with Wilhelt the Rot Cleaver. And then number 5 we have Empty the Laboratory. This card is pretty ridiculous if you do combine it with something like Wilhelt the Rot Cleaver, because you're sacrificing a ton of zombies with Decayed to go through your library and get pretty much the same number of zombies. What's better about this is that it's not conditional. You are going through and getting that same number of zombies. You're not even milling yourself because the excess cards go on the bottom of your library. Very low risk, high reward. You're going to get just nothing but zombies from your deck, which has a ton of potential because, as we've seen so far, zombies are pretty powerful. And then number 4 we have Curse of Unbinding. This is one of the best curses to date. It is a whopping 7 mana, but once you put it on an opponent, at the beginning of their upkeep you get to steal a creature from their deck. This is done by revealing cards from the top of their library, and what's even better is that, hey, you get a ton of other cards, they just end up in their graveyard, so you are able to mill them too. It's kind of funny if you want to throw this intentionally onto the player who's playing something more like a spell slinger strategy, not really a creature heavy deck. This could be used to really mill them out. Just a powerful ability whenever you can steal creatures from your opponents and there's no condition of giving them back. You get to pretty much keep them as long as they're on the battlefield. And then number 3, we have Moorland Rescuer. This card is going to be pretty powerful. We do have things like Revulark, which are easier to get rid of course. Taking advantage of that evoke means it can instantly go to the graveyard, and then you get that trigger. But Moorland Rescuer, I think, has a ton of potential for combos, because it is X or less, it's total power X or less. You can get creatures that have 0 power and just stock up on them. Fill your graveyard with a ton of good combo cards like Walking Ballista. And like with Karmic Guide, you have another good combo piece pretty much with those other Reanimator creatures. This should be just as easy to loop with. Even if you don't have the crazy combos, even if you aren't looking to take advantage of that, it should be pretty easy to get whatever you're looking for back from the graveyard. If you are playing mono white, chances are you're playing a ton of smaller creatures in general. So this is really meant to benefit the white decks, and you even have some Human Knight tribal potential too. And then number 2, we have Drown in Dreams. This is a strictly better stroke of genius, because you do have a condition if you control your commander. Instead of just choosing one, you get to choose both of these modes. So you get to draw X cards, and or target player mills twice X cards. So it's going to be perfect for mill, it's going to be perfect, I think, for a lot of blue decks. Stroke of Genius has been a pretty good card in Commander for a long time. Now that you have a strictly better version of it, it is pretty much going to see play wherever that did, and maybe then some, because it does synergize with mill. And that's what you look for in powerful Commander cards: versatility and power. So the number 1 card for the Commander set of Innistrad Midnight Hunt is Avacyn's Memorial. Say what you want about Avacyn's Memorial not exactly being like Avacyn where you give all of your permanents indestructible, but just giving your legendary permanents indestructible is still incredibly powerful. Most people would say their commander is essential for their strategy, so just alone making your commander indestructible, that makes this worth all 8 of that mana in my opinion. There are a lot of good strategies focused around legendary cards too. You have Kethis, you even have some historic strategies that take advantage of legendary permanents, but you really can't go wrong with this. Yes, it's not as powerful as Avacyn herself, but you're giving all of your legendary permanents indestructible. It has indestructible itself. This is not in the PRECON deck for Coven counters, so I just think it's worth pointing that out. It is still going to be one of the most played cards from this specific commander set in Midnight Hunt. So anyway, let me know what you think about these 10 cards. What do you think about the commander set for Midnight Hunt? Again, I think it's really weird that they decided to do it like this, where you have a certain number of cards that come in the boosters, and then you have the ones in the PRECON. It just made it so confusing for a lot of us. So I will see you all next time. Void here signing off. See you next video.